Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 14, text number 50. Antarbahishcha malamabjanetram swapurushet chanugrahita rupam Pautrastava Shri Lalana Lalaman Pautrastava Shri Lalana Lalamam Drashtasfurat Kundala Manditanam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Your grandson will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose wife is a beautiful goddess of fortune. The Lord can assume the form desired by the devotee, and his face is always beautifully decorated with earrings. Purport. It is predicted herewith that the grandson of Diti, Prahlad Maharaj, would not only see the personality of Godhead within himself by meditation, but would also be able to see him personally with his eyes. This direct vision is possible only for one who is highly elevated in Krishna consciousness. For the Lord is not possible to see with material eyes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has multifarious eternal forms such as Krishna, Baladeva, Shankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Narayana, Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Vamana, and the devotee of the Lord knows all those Vishnu forms. A pure devotee becomes attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. A devotee does not imagine something whimsical about the form of the Lord, nor does he ever think that the Lord is impersonal and can assume a form desired by non-devotee. The non-devotee has no idea of the form of the Lord, and thus he cannot think of any one of the above mentioned forms. But whenever a devotee sees the Lord, he sees him in a most beautifully decorated form, accompanied by his constant companion, the goddess of fortune, who is eternally beautiful. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So the grandson of Diti, Prahlad Maharaj, it is predicted that he could not only see the Supreme Lord within his heart, but he was such a great devotee that he could see the Lord everywhere, see the form of the Lord everywhere, even outside. Now this is something which is definitely not possible by everyone, because one cannot see the Lord with the material eyes, which implies that Prahlad Maharaj, because of his purification, not only he had his material eyes, but he had his spiritual eyes also awakened. Therefore, if the spiritual eyes are there, then any time the Lord, out of devotion, the Lord, if the devotee wants to see the Lord's form, the Lord will appear before the devotee. So that is what is described here, that Prahlad Maharaj, though he could, not only he could see within himself by meditation, but would also be able to see him personally with his eyes. Now this is a very high science, how spiritual and material body or senses can coexist in this material world. This is possible only for a Jivan Mukta, one who is completely liberated in this material body. Not even ordinary Jivan Mukta. A Jivan Mukta who is a great devotee of the Lord with pure devotion, only he can actually, this can be applicable only to him. Because seeing the Lord does not mean it is imagination. Seeing the Lord with his eyes means it's not imagination. In the mind you can say it's imagination. Seeing the Lord outside with his eyes is not imagination, it's a real form of the Lord. And here the word used in the verse is that Ichcha anugrahita rupam. Ichcha anugrahita rupam. The devotee will have ichcha to see a particular form of the Lord. But you are able to see because of anugraha. Because of the Lord's willing to come before you, therefore you are able to see the Rupam. In the material world, you see things as a phenomena. There is no choice to be seen or not to be seen. If you go before somebody's eyes, you will be seen. But in the transcendental world, everything is a world of love and free will. So, that is recognized by the devotee. And when the devotee wishes to see the form of the Lord, he does not think, I should see. He does not think he should come before me. He simply wishes his desire, and knowing very well that the Lord has to bless, and then he can see his transcendental form. This is the same thing with any different incarnation of the Lord, even the holy name also. One should seek the blessings of the incarnation of the Lord to be touching our spiritual senses. It is their blessing. When we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna, the sound incarnation of the Lord, it is his wish how to come and impact, how his personality can come and impact our senses, our soul, purify us, or whatever, inspire transcendental knowledge, inspire detachment, inspire love for him. All these things are possible by the blessings of the holy name. So blessings of the incarnation, blessings of the Lord. Atasi Krishna Namadi Namaved Grahyam Indriyai. It's a very famous verse. One cannot capture the Lord by Grahyam, by your Indriya. You cannot capture God. You cannot capture the form of the Lord. You cannot capture the sound, the name of the Lord. You cannot capture the mercy of the Lord. Lord's mercy is not captured, but Lord's mercy is bestowed. And Lord's mercy is bestowed by prayers, by begging, by seeking the blessings. This is contrary to the way in which everything we get in this material world. In this material world we go and we earn everything. What I earn I have to get. It has to come. In the spiritual world there is no principle of earning that way. The devotee is always in the mood of humility, seeking the favor of the Lord. And that is his work, to be humble and seek the favor of the Lord. Because that is a constitutional position of every living entity. Whatever that may be, whether it is power, whether it is anything for existence, whether it is maintenance, anything, The living entity is a tiny spark of the Lord, and he does not possess anything. Except his self-knowledge that I am servant of Krishna. Every other knowledge is also given to him. It is something that is bestowed upon him. So he does not possess knowledge, he does not possess things, he does not possess wealth, he does not possess anything. Everything is given to him. That is the spirit of the living entity in the spiritual world. That everything I have is given by the Lord. I am not the proprietor of anything. Including myself, I belong to Krishna. So Krishna is the supreme proprietor of everything. So in that spirit, that is why this is very important. Anugrahita Rupam. One has to be blessed. Then one can see the transcendental form of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. And each of those forms, Advaitam, Achyutam. They are Advaitam, they are non-different from each other. Prabhupada explains here that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has multifarious eternal forms such as Krishna, Baladeva, Shankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Narayana, Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Vamana. And the devotee of the Lord knows all these Vishnu forms. The pure devotee becomes attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. So, when one is particularly attached to some particular form due to that desire, then that devotee does not think that all the other forms of the Lord are not relevant to him. It is a question of attachment. It's the same personality. Just like if you are attached to somebody, let's say you are attached to your father, does not mean that you deny the father his role as a husband to his wife. You may be attached to your father as a father. Nor do you deny the personal feature of your father as father of many other children, or as uncle of someone. So the father has various roles. You have a particular attachment and relationship. In the same way, Lord has unlimited forms according to his unlimited leelas. The different forms of the Lord are connected to his unlimited leelas. But all these forms are so beautiful, as it is described here. His face is always beautifully decorated with earrings. It's the same Lord. So one has to have minimum transcendental knowledge of this fact that Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Then he can choose one of those forms according to his desire and be particularly attached, while knowing very well that my very same Lord has so many other forms and he has so many other pastimes connected to those particular forms. Fine, I am particularly attached, I want in this particular form. So that is the particular, that is a point that is mentioned here, that a pure devotee becomes attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. A devotee does not imagine something which is whimsical about the form of the Lord. That we already, there are Mayavadis, impersonalists who say that Lord has a He is actually an impersonal energy and he takes on any form that you want. That is being countered here by Prabhupada, that this is all whimsical imagination. The Lord's form is not imagination. Lord has an original form, Advaitam, Achyudam, Anadim, Anantarupam. It doesn't end there. Advaitam, Achyudam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam Purana Purusham, Navayavvanam cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adullabham. Navakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Vajami. Not from some impersonal, formless, impersonal energy, different forms are coming. No. From Adi Purusha, his form, Navayavvanam form, from his form all other forms are coming. Ishvaraha Sarvakarana Karanam, Ishvaraha Parama Krishna. He is the Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the cause of all other forms. In other words, it is him who is expanding as Narsimha, him who is expanding as Baladeva. It is Krishna who is expanding as Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, Shankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. It is he who is expanding as Narayana. It is he who is expanding as Karnodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. It is that Lord, the original form of the Lord is Krishna. Then various avatars, Narsimha, Vamana, various avatars that he has taken in the different kalpas, different yugas, which is historically recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Purana. So all these unlimited forms of the Lord, one has to understand the oneness of it and then spiritual differences in it. That is important. If one, just like some people will argue that, oh, Krishna is come from Narayana. Somebody will say, no, original Narayana has come from Krishna. If you don't understand Krishna first, if you don't understand Narayana first, can you ever resolve this? People who do not know who is Krishna, who is Narayana, will argue, Krishna is from Narayana, Narayana is from Krishna. First of all, they do not understand who is Krishna, who is Narayana. Then this argument will not come at all. At a very high transcendental level of tattva, that time, yes, Narayana is coming from Krishna. You have to argue with that person. You don't argue with neophytes. If he says Krishna is coming from Narayana, fine, no problem. Yeah, you are correct also. You worship Narayana. With him you argue, no, Krishna is the origin. If you argue with him, then he will argue then. He unnecessarily, he will make both offense to Krishna and Narayana. So among pure devotees, yes, there must be attachment, one type of form of the Lord to the other type of, one will be more inclined to Krishna, one will be more inclined to, one means what? The soul. At this stage of conditioned stage, we cannot say. At this conditioned stage, any attraction we may get particularly towards one deity, you cannot say that it is absolute. Our soul's constitutional attraction is something different. Particular deity we may be attached to in this life due to our past worship and all these things. Now we have come to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is this parampara is particularly inclined towards making everyone a follower of the Goswamis, of the Gopis. This is a particular, this parampara's special inclination to take everyone. It does not mean that everybody will go there also. It is not so easy to go there, to be in Goloka Vrindavana, strictly as an anuyayi of the Goswamis. Not easy also. So as far as these particular inclinations are concerned now, one against the other, we should not make such a discrimination mentally and practice such things. First, we have to understand that we have to surrender to Krishna, surrender to Vishnu, the principle of God, who is Vishnu Tattva. We have to surrender to Him, purify our consciousness, remove all our anarthas, give up our complete lauding tendency, give up our, lust, kama, krodha, lobha, all these things we have to give up. Only when we give up, our heart becomes cleansed. When our heart becomes cleansed, then only we can, talk about particular attachments to particular form of the Lord. Till then we have to go according to whatever the spiritual master says. We have to worship the transcendental form of the deity that the spiritual master has given us. Get attached to the deities. And then the deities will show us the way. So these are all very important for those who are initiated to follow the right processes and not be sentimental. Those who think bhakti is cheap, this is very important. Bhakti is, what is the meaning of bhakti is cheap? That bhakti comes without sacrifice. That is called bhakti is cheap. There is some payment for love. What is that? Sacrifice. Self-sacrifice. That is a price for bhakti. So without giving up one's self-sacrifice, without giving up one's particular attachments, one cannot say that one is eligible for developing love for Krishna. So that when you take bhakti as when bhakti is not accompanied with sacrifice, and bhakti is only emotional, that is a definition of sahajya, imitation of bhakti, imitation of love. There is love and there is imitation of love. When love is only emotional, it is imitation of love. When love is accompanied with sacrifice, that is true bhakti. Otherwise you cannot differentiate. Somebody may show so much of emotions to Krishna and all these things. You ask him, what are you sacrificing? Are you sacrificing your life? Are you sacrificing your possessions? Are you sacrificing your time to please your loved one? No, simply, I feel, that's all. No, your feeling should transform into action. If you feel for someone, you should serve him. If you love someone, you cannot be without serving him. You have to serve him. Serving means with all our senses, which means it's sacrifice. So therefore, when you come to Krishna consciousness, when you come to the lotus feet of the spiritual master will cleanse you of all these ignorant concepts of love. Even love, bhakti. Bhakti to God also has so many improper conceptions. Some people think bhakti means emotion. It's nonsense. That is sentimentalism. At the same time, bhakti contains emotion. Bhakti is not emotion, but bhakti contains emotion. It is one of the components. That emotion towards the loved one should manifest as action, as sacrifice, as free will. Real bhakti includes even pain. It is not always pleasurable emotions. Bhakti is not always pleasurable emotion. You love someone, even if there is pain, you will love someone. Let's say some particular occasion is there where there is a relational pain. Let's say the lover does not understand the loved one. There is misunderstanding. When there is misunderstanding, there is pain. Even then bhakti, love does not, love includes that also. No, you don't understand me, so I don't love you. Love doesn't break. Love is a sense of belonging. Belonging does not break just because there is unpleasant emotion. Emotions can be pleasant and unpleasant. So sahajiyas, they are always looking for just emotional experience, pleasant emotional experiences. So this during Bhaktivedanta Thakur's time, at that time Lord Chaitanya's movement was completely degraded to sahajiyas. Only imitation. Men used to wear dress of women and then think they are gopis and they used to roam around. This was all before Bhaktivedanta Thakur, this was Lord Chaitanya's, movement twisted and contorted everywhere, all over Bengal. Then Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he read the original teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He understood the greatness of this philosophy. And after few generations, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after the Goswamis, after few generations, it just got degraded to only, sentimentalism. And then Bhaktivedanta Thakur brought out the tattva, the principles. It is not just emotion, it is sat, chit and ananda. It is not just ananda, it is sat and chit. There is knowledge, there is transcendental knowledge. If you take only ananda, it is sentimentalism. The absolute truth is sat, chit and ananda. Even in that love there is tattva. Even in that love there is truth, existence. So like this, such a wonderful thing, Krishna consciousness, that is expounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada was always Prabhupada. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was also very, because the vibration in those days was this, Chaitanya's movement was completely sentimental. So many branches, all nonsense. And obviously, all kinds of things, when they are not mature, they take up such emotions of gopi and all, then they end up in illicit sex, all these things. Degraded completely to sinful activities. That is a danger. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, following the same footsteps of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, maintained that spirit and warned everybody against sahajiyism. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to chastise his devotees, his disciples, if they wanted to go and sit in Radha Kund and do bhajans, want to become Babaji. So after that again there are so many diverse. If you go now also to Radha Kund and many Babajis and all, they are very much against Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, this parampara. That enmity is still there now. Because he used to attack them. What you are doing, Babaji business? First you remove your anarthas. Babaji will say he'll do bhajan, he'll go and take bidi. He'll smoke bidi. Or he'll be engaged in something else, illicit sex. So the Acharya, he knows, this is the population, full of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So from where you have to take the next step. And Srila Prabhupada was perfect. As the Acharya understood exactly what is the predominant gunas in the present population. So he engaged all our gunas so appropriately. to engage in devotion service of the Lord and then chant 16 rounds and minimum 16 rounds, and adjusted everything in a way in which the pursuit of Krishna consciousness does not become merely sentimental, but it becomes real love is expressed through sacrifice. Without sacrifice, there is no. Because ultimately, you see, surrender, unless you sacrifice, you cannot surrender. Unless you surrender, you cannot develop love. So you don't surrender, you don't sacrifice, you don't surrender, and you generate emotions of love for Krishna. It's all bogus. That's called sentiment. It will not sustain. Because that's very easy, no? In your heart you can just imagine and churn out lot of emotions. Is that bhakti? It's not difficult at all to churn out bhakti like that. Churn out love for an imagination. It's not. Real love for God is a total thing. It involves action, it involves thinking, it involves knowledge. It's never in ignorance, it is fully in knowledge. Bhakti is never in ignorance. Any questions? Jai Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.